I finally have completed the video of setting up the terrariums, and here it is. You're looking at some background footage of my fish. I see something in the background to talk right now. But basically today you're going to see me set up mostly fully my 5.5 gallon terrarium, and then you're going to see some little steps of my 10.5 gallon terrarium. Not 10.5, 10 gallon terrarium, my bad. So you're going to see the setup process of that. It's going to be broken down into steps, so let's get started. So for preparation, I wanted to minimize as much pest as possible getting into my terrarium or getting out. So I obviously have the basic screen mesh that many people have. I went ahead, went on Amazon and doubled the screen mesh by buying a fine screen. So they're going to get on. This is the first attempt. It looks a little rough on my 10 gallon, but on my 5.5 gallon, as you've seen, which was the first screen you've seen, it looks a lot more professional. I also bought some window foam to help insulate the areas, number one, and also to help block out any crevices that could happen between where the lid meets and the tank meets. So try to seal everything up as much as possible. Here's a little sneak peek of the 10 gallon terrarium. So that's what I did for that for preparation. I really wanted to make sure that nothing could get in and nothing could get out. And for the most part, it's working for the most part. Also, you can see how I installed my misting system. Okay, this is a very horrible shot video of me showing you how the tank looked before any alteration. So beforehand, this is the 5.5 gallon. I had already had my frog in here. She unfortunately did pass away about a month prior. This is me dropping the camera in the tank. All I did was take out all the fake decor, take the the cork bark, and put it in the corners like this to create two little V's, which we will be using to create a mound. They'll be kind of like the barrier, the soil barrier, and that's all I did at this point. And then I would go to add more soil on top because obviously we're gonna need a lot more soil if we're gonna have live plants in here. So I took some more cocoa fiber husk. Basically, that's all it was with a little sand, and I just packed everything on top. Sorry for the background noise, but let me just show you. So everything is healed up here. I think I'm gonna put our lovely bamboo. This is the plants we're using. We're doing bamboo forest. At least that's the idea. So I'm gonna come in here and interrupt past me to go ahead and talk about the soil in a little bit of a better way. So roughly, this is about 4 inches of soil from the top to the bottom, not including the drainage layer, obviously. And I buried the bamboo about 2 inches deep. So basically going up to like that second connection of the bamboo. Roughly that's how deep it went. This is a 5.5 gallon. I know it's very short, very tiny, but I had made all these alterations to the tank, the misting system, the etc. on this because 5.5 gallon didn't have that in the beginning. I had made all the alterations to that when the frog was alive to give it the best home possible, and then she passed away, and I was like, I didn't want to just make this tank go to waste, so that's why this became a terrarium. This originally was not meant to be that, but I was like, yeah, let's try it. So it wasn't made for these plants, but I thought a little bamboo forest with a lot of moss would be really cool. So these are all the bamboos that are planted. I did end up planting one more later on. I just had to wait till my store got it in that I normally shop with the cookie plants. Right now, I kind of want to add more in there, but again, I'm dealing with a limited amount of room. So I only can do but so much. So adding moss to the aquariums happened a quite while after I had already planted the bamboo, simply because I didn't know how I wanted to do the moss. I didn't know where I wanted it. I didn't know if I wanted it to cover all the top areas like a grassy hill, or if I wanted to cover all the bottom areas. This is me kind of playing with the idea of just deciding where I wanted the moss to be. Eventually I decided to go with something like this, which this is all dried moss. It's not going to pop back to life to my knowledge, but it'll just look pretty. Eventually I am going to order some live pillow moss and then some other mosses and hopefully replace some of that stuff with that because I want it to grow and look alive and still look flourish. I just want that. And this is me, you can see little springtails that I added in there to help keep some pests out. They're not really helping because I have fruit flies in there already, even though I have that very fine mesh up there. Okay, so this is the 10 gallon continuation, basically me just showing you what I did for the 10 gallon. I kind of went over all of this in a previous video, but as you can see, I have a lemon button fern in there. I have some grasses, which I detailed the actual plant names in my last video. So go check that out. And then that's how I kind of plan it. So this one I am using Mapani wood, kind of getting the same concept, having heels and stuff. And ideally that top heel needs to grow out like a little grassy patch. The bottom area is going to be leaf covered, almost like tree leaves have fell down. And that kind of corner right there, I want the fern to kind of grow in there and with other plants. As you can see, the fern's not doing so well. It looks a lot better now, but it's still looking very sparse. The leaves just look a little bit healthier. So far, my grass is growing longer instead of more in width like I want it to, probably because I don't have a bright enough light, so it's trying to reach the top to get as much light as it can. So I need to work on getting brighter light or add another light to that setup. I added another plant. It's not doing so hot, but I'll show you all that in a minute during updates. Okay, I want to say this is about a month after the original setup of the 10 gallon at least. I'm going to wait a little bit longer to show you guys the 5.5 gallon because I want some more stuff to kind of go on in there. But as you can see, we have life. There's a lot of springtails in there. All those little white specks pretty much are springtails. That's a new plant I added. I don't know its name. I'm showing you right there. That's its name. As you can see, the lemon button fern, if I ever get back to that clip, a lot of the dead leaves are kind of gone and what's there is looking a lot healthier. It's still diminished in size, but it's looking healthier. But this plant, on the other hand, isn't doing so hot. I don't know if it's getting too much water. I originally, when I got it was in a glass like this with water in it, and it looked fine. But I desoiled it. I don't know if it's just getting used to that. It's acclimating to it. I still have that plant I need to plant in there, but it had like some pests on it, so I'm trying to like wait till those pests die out, and then I'm gonna do a little disinfecting, and then wait a little bit longer, and then I'm gonna plant that in there. But as you can see on the side, if I ever give you a full clip of the terrarium, the grass got a lot taller. It's definitely growing. It's just not growing the way I want it to. I added bamboo in there, a skinnier type. But yeah, the idea was that was supposed to bush out. This little pink plant was supposed to bush out, not slowly die. It still looks around the same that it does, because that clip was filmed a couple days ago. So it still looks the same, but it had a bigger leaf, a bigger beautiful pink leaf kind of right beside where that fern is. And it died off. Like it turned brown in the middle and it was dead. I don't know if it's because it's getting too much water and its leaves are getting wet, so I don't know if I need to move it away from that specific mister. But I'm dealing with that, so I have to kind of figure out what the heck's going on in that condition. I did reposition the mister so it's not directly like misting on top of that plant. So hopefully that improves it. I don't think it is though. But as you can see, this was me feeding some of the isopods, not isopods, springtails. There's also little little creatures in there, and I noticed they only show up when there is an excess of food or moisture. So I did some changes with misting, and hopefully that will take effect. I just did those changes tonight with changing the how often it missed and how much it missed. So hopefully in the next couple weeks we fix that situation. But yeah, you can see the grass has gotten a lot taller compared to the previous clip, which I'm happy it's growing. I'm happy it's alive because I thought it was going to die, but it's just not spreading. It's still basically in its same little zones. So we're going to work on that. And this is the light I'm working with. It's a higher light, LED light. It's full spectrum. It's not technically meant for that tank. It's meant for, I'm pretty sure, 5.5 gallons. So I just don't think the wattage is good enough / the brightness is good enough. So either A, I need to buy another one or a second light, or B, I need to just get a new light and put that one on the 5.5 gallon. Because right now the 5.5 gallon with the bamboo has nothing on there, but the bamboo still looks pretty decent. So that's my changes. Thank you guys for watching. I'll try to get you an update as soon as possible. But yeah, thanks.